Hey Empoweristas, it's Alex Worley and I am joined by Jodi Guber Brufsky. She is the founder and CCO of Beyond Yoga. Huge fan, love everything that you guys create. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And like you said off camera, you're selling yoga pants, you're selling fitness apparel, but really the message is what's so much more important to you.
Yes.
So tell me what that message is.
The message is, at its core, to love yourself. Love yourself as you are right now. We live in a culture where it's so much about losing weight, being a certain size, looking a certain way, and we forget the importance of who we are as humans.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we don't Photoshop bodies, we use models of all sizes, and really promote feeling good about yourself regardless of what your size is, because you're not your body. You're who you are as a human.
But the media and society often likes to tell us that we are our body. So it can be really hard being a woman. There's so much pressure to look a certain way, right?
100%.
And that's something that you dealt with a lot growing up. And then on top of it, you grew up in Hollywood. Your dad worked in Hollywood in the entertainment field. So there was probably even added pressure. Tell me about that.
So my dad was deeply immersed in the entertainment business, and I felt in the spotlight, so to speak. I wasn't a celebrity, but I felt that the exposure that I had because of my experiences, I felt in the spotlight, and I didn't fit the part. I was a size 8, a size 6, a size 14, a size 12, and as the story goes, and struggled with that. And spent a lot of time, how do I flatter my body regardless of what size? And that's really what goes into Beyond Yoga. That experience that I had is largely the impetus for me to start Beyond Yoga, a line of yoga-inspired activewear to fit and flatter many bodies. And when we create the line, we create the collections, we really look at having something in all the different fabrications that are for different body types, something that's loose, something that's form-fitted, and really giving women the opportunity to express themselves in different ways and feel very comfortable doing it.
Was there a key moment that you decided to just accept yourself for where you were at and who you were and to love yourself?
What I will say is that it's a work in progress all the time.
It's a journey.
And I think that, do I think there are people out there who really, truly, 100% accept themselves? I hope so. All the time. I have my moments, I'm human, you know? I'll go to put a pair of jeans on and they're tight on me one day and I'm like, oh, it's okay. This too shall pass. They will be loose again. We're women. We're hormonal. We have ups and downs. So I think it's riding that roller coaster, because what I've noticed is when I don't freak out, it comes back down. And when you start to accept that it ebbs and flows, it's a much easier process.
And don't judge yourself for it. I mean, that makes you real and relatable, that here you are, you know, founder, CCO of Beyond Yoga, and it's a body positive brand, and you still struggle with this sometimes.
100%. We work with a lot of models across the board, from size 0 to size 18. And I notice the same qualities in all of them. I notice confidence and I notice insecurity, because that's human nature.
Right.
I mean, it's how you deal with it. It's whether you allow yourself to sink into it. It's whether you allow yourself to define you. It can be a moment. So the moment doesn't have to be the full picture of your life. It's a moment and it will pass. The more self-love I have, this becomes a little bit more like this.
Yeah. So when you are feeling the most amount of love for yourself, what are you doing in your life or in your mind that's clearly working?
I'm being mindful. And so many people have told me, meditate. I have such a hard time meditating. I would not be telling the truth if I said to you, I meditate every day. It's so easy. So not so easy.
Do you make yourself do it anyways?
Not every day. Some days. I try to I try to feel where I'm at, because there are days where I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to meditate today. And then there are days where I'm like, I'm so busy and I know I need it and I'll do it. And some days I know I'm so busy and I know if I do it, I'm just not going to be there. So I don't beat up on myself for it. For a long time, I'd be like, I can't do it. And I beat up on myself. But mindfulness doesn't have to be
sitting there and meditation. It's more of a self-awareness, would you say?
Mindfulness is when you're eating slowly, chewing your food. Mindfulness is when you're having a conversation with someone, giving them the chance to express their feelings, not taking it personally, knowing that we all have our history, our past, impacting the communication. So mindfulness can also be being present. Mindfulness, some people will say being conscious, conscientious. There's a lot of different words. Mm-hmm. But I think being present is probably the best way to say it, because it takes away the spirituality factor. And even though I would consider myself a very spiritual person,
sometimes it feels a little too woo-woo for people versus bringing it back down on earth. And it's like, regardless what your background is, being present is a good thing.
And it's a very simple word.
So one of the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome is something we can all relate to: FOMO, fear of missing out. Sometimes it turns into comparison. Tell me about your journey with this.
Definitely FOMO is something that I have experienced. I think if people are being honest, they've all experienced it.
We've all experienced it, yeah.
And some people more than others. And it's definitely something that I had to work on. But really, it's not really FOMO as much as it is really being comfortable with who you are, knowing who your friends are, and knowing where you're supposed to be. So I talk about Brene Brown is someone who I really admire.
I love her.
And love.
She talks about vulnerability and shame and
yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things she talks about in her book is belonging versus fitting in. And it really resonated with me. And I think this ties into FOMO perfectly. So fitting in requires you to be who you think they want you to be. Mm-hmm. That's very exhausting, and also very often could take you out of your authentic, who you authentically are. Mm-hmm. Belonging is being who you are and attracting the people that you're meant to be with, and requires you to be nothing but your authentic self.
Mm-hmm. So much more powerful and rewarding.
FOMO is getting stuck in the belief of fitting in.
Yeah.
Because if you truly are embracing belonging, FOMO doesn't have a hold on you.
Doesn't have a place, because you're not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
Those weren't your people that you attracted.
Exactly. And so what I found myself doing was really paying attention to those people that would trigger me. And when I was around those people, I don't not like those people. I'm just not necessarily super close with those people. Mm-hmm. And so when I would be around them, I would notice it didn't flow the way it flows with the people that I'm with, where I feel that sense of belonging. And so I kind of now, my sort of mantra is, if it doesn't flow, let it go.
And going back to how you've really, really used Beyond Yoga as a bigger platform for your message, you're involved with a couple big female empowerment organizations, and then have your own salons. Tell me about some of that work you're doing.
So I Am That Girl and All Women Project are two organizations that I'm on the board of. And I Am That Girl is an amazing organization that promotes self-esteem in girls, and they have they create chapters. So mostly it's in colleges. There's a little bit in high schools, and they provide them with the material for the conversations. And what's amazing is that I've been to the yearly retreats where the chapter leaders come together and really talk about like the experiences of the girls, and it's incredible the way it changes girls' lives. They feel like they have a place to go that they belong, where they can feel safe. And
be
not
themselves.
To poo-poo sororities, because plenty of people love them, but you have to get accepted. And so it generates that belonging, fitting in conversation.
Right.
Sometimes you end up where you belong. Sometimes you are trying so hard to fit in. And so I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just saying I am that girls' chapter meetings are inclusive and really create a sense of belonging. And I really love what they're doing and love to support it, since my whole thing is self-esteem in girls.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect synergy. And the other organization I'm involved with on the board is All Women Project. And it was started by 2 models, Charlie and Clementine, who are adorable. And they both are on a model board that is an all-inclusive board. Charlie is on the smaller side, but she's not a size 0. And Clementine is on the larger size, but she's not a size, how do I say it?
The curve model, is that what it is?
She's a curve model. But technically, you would say Charlie is also a curve model because she's not a size 0. The whole thing is insane. The whole thing is kind of antiquated.
So they're raising awareness about that and how
about
the
loving yourself.
Yeah.
And they do it beautifully. I'm so inspired by what they do. And I love their Instagrams and what they're talking about. And I just love supporting them. And they're just adorable. But they are all about women empowerment and loving your body right now without changing anything. Cellulite, stretch marks, a pooch. And it could also be being really thin. It's not about being plus size or curvy. It's about
wherever
the whole
you're
spectrum.
All women are beautiful. So lastly, I ask all the Empoweristas this: what is your definition of empowerment?
My definition of empowerment is loving yourself. My definition of empowerment is knowing who you are and celebrating that about yourself. And that could be, like, I'm somebody who, I'm a loud talker. I have to remind myself, I'm like, oh, I'm talking loud, okay. Like, but that's okay. I don't have to beat myself up.
Yeah.
You know, it's really owning all parts of you and celebrating it and not being too self-conscious of it. It's really finding where you belong and not fighting to fit in, fitting into a pair of certain size, fitting into a certain group. So however you want to look at it. So I think it's loving
If it doesn't
yourself,
fit, let it go.
right? Loving yourself, belonging. If it doesn't flow, let it go. Being present, being mindful, being kind.
You summed it all up beautifully. I love what you're all about.
Thank you.
Such good stuff. Jodi, thank you so much.
Thank you. Such an honor and pleasure to be here today.
Oh, my pleasure. And let us know what your definition of empowerment is using hashtag Empowerista, and we'll show you some social media love. No FOMO. No FOMO on our social media.